I don't know what to say here because I haven't posted or written in a couple of days. After the whole stress of the weekend and then the thing fucking up yesterday at the office, it might be okay, but it just was very frustrating. And then I went to the casino all day, lost, a lot of money. And then today, I was so, it was like, the other thing is even better than the casino because the casino is just so awful, and I was just so stressed that I went partying all day, and I don't want to talk about it. Worst experiences of my life, and it was really awful. It was like all day, and then after I managed to come down, so it was just terrible, and the last one just went in a completely different direction, and I kind of got ripped off. I didn't get anything stolen as such, but I kind of got scammed. And then after I came down, I just came straight to the casino. And I've accessed pretty much all my savings. Well, a big chunk of my RSPs that I had put aside. I accessed a lot of money, It was just nightmare. And then I came to the casino, and it's just not, I was not winning a thing, and I was just compulsively feeding the machines, and I was getting no fun, no enjoyment, and there was no chance of winning anything. And the last time, that was the problem. When I won the 4,000 and then I paid off my, I was 4,000 in debt. I mean, more than that now. But I was just feeding money into it. And in the end, I still have $300 or $400 left, but I just got to the point where I came into the car to get the last $300-400. And then I'm thinking maybe I could go party. It's like, there's money here. And the addict is like, there's money, let's do something with it. If not casino, let's go get some more stuff and party. And, there are ways of finding, I don't talk about all this in podcasts. I didn't look online on the phone. I just like going, I have to draw a line here. I have to make a decision. There's still $300-400 left in the car, but I didn't take it back in to gamble it. It's kind of a very small gesture at this point because I've lost thousands. But I didn't go back in to gamble it because the gambling was just done. And the other thing, it was awful. There was no pleasure. There was just, no learning, no nothing. It was just, and I'm lucky that I survived it because there might have been some, some not that good substances, and I was ready to go back and do more, but I'm like, even now, you know what? I'm talking to you. Even now, the casino is just over there, and I can sit in the car and check postings for, party stuff, party favors. That Range Rover is, that's kind of how I feel right now. That's like, the alarm has gone off. I'm over the edge. I'm in a very bad place in the dark forest, probably one of the worst places. Even though I'm now sober, I'm broke, but I'm this is one of the worst dark places in the forest that I've ever been. And right now I've ordered a kebab. That's like, okay, gotta eat. That's one of the things that when I usually binge, I don't eat. But I'm like, okay, on the way back, I'm gonna pick up a chicken kebab, and I'm going to the kids. They've been alone all day. I fed them in the morning, and then, if something happens to me, if I go to party more and something happens to me, what happens to my kids? This is like, and it's just, I can't, this whole addiction thing. Sometimes I really wish I could go to rehab, or I could go to 12 steps, or, often. But it's just, it would be like puss in that crazy cat lady's place. It would just not be for me. This isn't much better, but, I make some days, I make some months, then something happens. This whole tax thing, it just fucked me up, And the irony is I've spent more on addiction, on substances and other stuff today, and gambling casinos over the last 2-3 days, than the fine would have been worth. And I may have to pay for the fine too, because it did not go well really on Monday. So it could be that on top of that. So I'm going to have to cash in some more of our RSPs and stuff, and do damage control. But this is, I'm saying this now, and I've never said this before. I'm saying this publicly, I have never said this before, because I know I'm an addict. But I cannot. I've never said this. I've never said that. I've said I cannot go back to these places, an important distinction is to say, I won't. This was awful. This was terrible. My children have been neglected. I'm broke. I could have seriously harmed myself tonight. And all the signs were pointing towards, not winning any, not getting the 4,000, 5,000 back in the casino, not getting anything back. I was just feeding machines. And the slither binges they did not work out. Sometimes they work out, at least I get something out of them. This time, it was just, disasters. So it's definitely a sign. I'm still not out of the dark forest. I can say whatever. Junkies always say, this is the last time. Always. This is a junkie ritual. And I'm not going to say this is the last time, but I'm going to go from not just that I can't, but I'm going to make every effort to make this a won't, go back. But all my things, the pushes, the kids, and the movies, and everything that I do, the podcasts and the writing and it works. 2 months, 3 months, 4 months, and then the binges just get worse. And now it was like mixed with the casino, which was like a double. It was just two of the worst addictions you can imagine at once. So right now, it's like 1 second at a time. I'm just going to get the kebab. At least this is a good step. I get the kebab and then head back to the kids. Oh, my kids, all day they've been alone. Oh, a very distressed nutty professor. Bye for now. I'll tape again from home. I hope I feel better. Well, I'm not going to feel better for a while, but I'm just going to have to stay. This morning I got up, and yesterday was terrible with the casino and losing money. But the first thing was that, okay, I'm stressed. What do I do? Let's go party. That'll deal with the stress. But the partying was the worst thing, and then it brought me back, and I've spent so much money. And then it brought me back to the casino, because the casino, it's kind of, yesterday was like going, partying is better than the casino because the casino was so awful. And then today the partying was so awful that I came to the casino. So I'm fucked. Anyway, I'll tape again from home. There's no guarantees that I'm going to make it home, but I'm going to head home. Bye for now. Okay, as I was talking, the concierge called me from downstairs because they went to throw the garbage, and I forgot to turn off the alarm, and then that beeped downstairs. It's nice that they check on you, in case there's an emergency. I said, I'm fine, it was a false alarm, and he was like, you're okay? Is everything okay? And, I think they want to make sure that you're not, like, being held hostage or something. I'm being held hostage by myself, by my shadow, by my, by my worst self. I guess worse and better are, judgmental, but gotta judge at some point. And today was bad. It was just not helpful to myself or to my kids or to my bank balance, which does affect my kids and myself and my, so it was not good, And people keep telling me, you spend so much money, you could donate it to cats. And I'm like going, yes, but when you're in the throw of the addiction, when the pull is there and you're in the dark forest, yeah, it's like, okay, yes, of course, it would be better to give this money to cats, to help cats, who I love, because well, I love my cats, so other cats are my cats' people, so I would rather help them than, feed money into machines, like a lot of money into machines to make the rich casino or rich corrupt casino owners richer. I'd rather donate that money. It could have helped a lot of cats. But when you're in that state of mind, when it's like a compulsion, nothing matters. Nothing else. Even my kids. I mean, you know how I feel about my own kids. I mean, I didn't hurt them or anything, but I was just gone all day. I was just, and they're not going to starve. No, don't worry. I mean, there is enough money. I mean, I don't really have that much that I can lose as much as I have over the last couple of days, but I have enough, and there's RSPs and gold is up. So it's doable only because I have this place to live. I have my house, and which is still not moving, and I have and I don't have any human kids or human relationship, which is also part of a problem. This is what leads me into this stuff, because really all I have is my cats, and they can be left all day, and they just need cat food. I don't have to pay for their schools or anything, or for their weddings or anything like that, Now, once they get older, or educations. So that's part of the problem, It's just me and them, but I do have my friends. I have and they're worried. I haven't. I heard from one yesterday, and I just said it didn't go well at the tax office, and I sent a short text, and I said, you'll know that things aren't good because I was at the casino, and I said, I lost a lot of money, but I said, you'll know things aren't good because my texts to you are relatively short. Usually I'm like, manuscripts for texts. And then today she was like, she sent a text when I was in the middle of everything, just going, short texts are better than no texts. But today it was no text. So that's a thing I have to do right now. I just have to text her and go, things got as bad as they've ever got, but I'm home safe. And that's the other thing she said. She said, the only important thing is, the main thing is you get home safe. Today was worse because it was party too. It was like fuck me. I mean, as my other friend says, she knows how much effort I put into trying to stay clear. And, one little thing, well, it's not little, but one thing like that fucking home vacant, which is so ridiculous because it's not vacant. I've got 200 podcasts here, and to go through the hoops I had to go through, and the frustrations and it's just ridiculous. I shouldn't get that stressed out over it, and I should have, it's true, but I got stressed out in what the junkies do, and I ended up doing what I considered the safer one, more expensive in some ways, but safer one first yesterday. But that got so bad and so compulsive that today I was like so stressed out that I'm like, I need the other one. So and then I did the other one, and then that was so bad, I headed back to the casino. It was like a catch-22 or a ping pong or something. I don't know. So, and about that whole text thing, a long time ago when I first started these things, when I'd binge, another friend of mine, the one who had the dream of me as a cat, she used to, as a dog actually, that's a dream of me as a dog. I'm still falling off the cliffs, by the way. I limp back, but where's my super cat? Well, my super cats are here, and they do everything they can. Honestly, last night and this morning, they did everything they can. There were, even Agita was nice to her brothers, almost nice, but it's not enough. When the pull comes, when I really, really just can't fight anymore, then I give in and I just go. And and it kind of went from casino yesterday to party in the early afternoon. And that didn't end up doing a lot of stuff, but the stuff I did, some of the stuff wasn't really good. And I think I ingested some. I looked at, which you're not supposed to do it that way. So, it's kind of, but I was just in that state. Well, what the fuck, So you're not really supposed to, you're supposed to snort that stuff, And it was, okay. I don't want to talk more about that, but it was not good. And the encounters were not good. Sometimes the encounters, the party places and stuff like that, they kind of work out. They're mutually beneficial. But I just get these days I get so fucked up, not because of the substance, but just because of the mindset I get into. The gambling and then the other stuff and the frustration and the not wanting to be there, but being there, and everything just goes really wrong, I mean, just in terms of, nobody gets hurt or anything, but it's just like, it's not a good feeling, and it's not, it's not, it's awful. I mean, I keep saying, I've said before too, that the thing is, I say it's awful. I do it every 2 months, 3 months, and then, it's so hard to get back out. But there are people that do this every day, and they have to do all kinds of things to make their money, to meet the needs of their addiction. Whereas I just have to cash in RSPs, So that's, in a way, I've said this before, that has made my struggles worse because I don't have to steal, I just have to juggle things, and cash RSPs and as I said before, that's mainly because I don't have human kids, and and I have the savings, and I have all of this stuff, and I have the use of this place, and I have my house, so all of that, and I don't have any mortgages, so I can do it, and I have investments, but it's not good because they're finite, and as I said, it would be better to donate that money, but when you're in that to cats. I mean, obviously to cats, not to humans. But when I'm in that state, I'm like, fuck it, It's just, anyway, I've talked enough. Important thing, home with the kids. Tomorrow's still going to be rough, by the way. It's going to be even though this was awful. One of the worst binges yet. But it's, I'm still in the dark forest. When am I ever going to get out? I don't know. But it's 1 day at a time. 1 day at a time. Remember a long time ago I used to go one paw in front of the other. And it's just dragged on for so long. And in some ways it gets worse. So I can't even come up with these, there was the puss thing and the dark forest, and the metaphors, the nutty professor, the nutty metaphors. Okay, enough. 1 day at a time. Bye for now. From the 4 of us. So look at this. 1 baby right next to me on the table. 1 baby there. And Agita there. I have said this before, and this is not hyperbole. This is true. I strongly doubt that I would be here on this planet had it not been for my kids. I have doubts. I don't think I'd have made it. Even with the kids, who depend on me and who I love more than anything in the universe, and they're my responsibility. Even with them, sometimes I just squeak through. Anyway, I'm home. I'm home with the kids, and that's all I have to say. I'll keep you posted. Bye for now. Good morning, everybody. We got Agita there. We've got 1 baby there, and we've got 1 baby trying out a new spot. This is, they occasionally check out inside these cat condos, but it's not really a favorite spot. But there's a lot of noise going on with the construction next door or upstairs or something. So one of the babies is in there. So we got had a good night in that I managed to eat some chicken kebab and I managed to get to sleep, which is rare when I've been on a slither party binge. And this time it was like that combined with the casino. So I get up in the morning and the kids are there and I feel relief that I'm safe and that, everything, I'm at home and I'm with the kids. And I said yesterday in the footage at the kebab, outside the kebab place after the casino, I said, I'm going to go from, I can't go again to I won't go again. Paul was still there. It was actually there again this morning. It's not one of those things that's just going to go away like that. But, as I said, it's beyond can't. It's just like I know I can't. I know I can't. I've known that for a long time. But now I really have to put everything into the won't. I'm still not sure how I'm going to do it, but it's a work in progress. So it's back to one day at a time. But it's okay. We'll do it. I've done it before. Now I'm going to say something now that I don't want people to take the wrong way in any form. And I'm not saying ever that I would do this, but I do understand now. I didn't get it before, but I do understand when people say that gambling is probably the worst addiction ever. Worse than substances, worse than anything, worse than sex, worse than anything. The worst addiction of all, the most compulsive, is gambling, and I wholeheartedly agree because I've tried it the other ones too. And I know. I've also combined them, which is not a good combination. It's like a cocktail of addictions, But it's like, and I have heard of, and this is what I'm going to say. I'm not saying myself. I would never do this. I would, but I do understand. I've known of people, not directly, but I've known people who got so frustrated with gambling that they actually committed suicide. Many years ago, I know, when I was a child in England, I remember that my parents had a friend. And I was a kid, but I remembered him. He was a doctor, an Indian gentleman. I used to call him uncle, and he committed suicide. And it was over gambling debts. It was like £5,000 in those days. I mean, it's like maybe like $100,000 today. But he was a doctor. I mean, he had a good job, and but I think he had borrowed money from from community, from like gangsters or something. Yeah, I don't know all the details. I was a kid. I heard some of this when I was an adult, and I'm like, I didn't quite get it. I'm like going, why would he do that? He had a wife, he had kids, he had a good job, he was a doctor. Why would he do it? And I get it now. I totally get it. It's not about the money. I mean, for him, there was that other thing of he had borrowed from, apparently from, gangsters, and there's a community thing and status and all of that. But I think more than that, it's just the compulsive nature of it, and the feeling trapped by it, and it's just so, it's awful. It's an awful feeling to live with. That's all I can say. Now, and I wouldn't do it. I've said this before. I wouldn't do it, but I understand that some people, you get to that point where they feel that there's no other way out. I wouldn't. I've got my kids to look after, and I've got, I got to publish eventually, and I got friends, and I got a lot of things to do. So no matter how bad it gets, I've struggled for many, many years. I'm not giving up now, Now, in a way, doing the other thing. I wouldn't, actually do what my father's friend did. I think he shut himself in the garage and turned on the engine of the car, something like that. I don't, again, he did something. I think it was something like that. But yeah, I would never do that. No, never. However, in a way, my whole partying thing. I mean, that is also a form of gambling at my age. The stuff that I get into is like a form of Russian roulette. As I said to my friend, I have more than Puss. Poor Puss was on his eighth life. I've used up way more than eight. The nutty professor and Puss has had way more than eight lives. I won the lottery there. So, but pushing it. I'm like Puss. We're getting to the end of that. The allotted lives. It's more like 80, but I think we're getting like 78, 79 out of the 80, So, or 90, whatever. Maybe as a nutty professor human, instead of the customary 9 lives, they got 90 lives, So, but we're on 88, maybe 89, No, at least I'm laughing about it, It's okay. I mean, I have come too far. I have struggled with too much to give up, Talking about Puss, I actually had a dream. Like, nobody can read my handwriting except me. But I had a dream. My students used to say that. Also, I used to write on the board. This is before all the presentation technology stuff. But I had a dream this morning about. I haven't even entered it. I haven't written a journal entry in a couple of days. I've been doing more of the taping than the, when I can, even though I haven't done much. But I will. That's a goal after I finish this, is to edit and post this podcast and then try to at least make a journal entry, write out this dream, and at least start getting into the so much shit that has happened the last 3 days, and at least trying to get it down and the details that I hold back here for privacy, personal, legal reasons. So now, I did have a dream, about Puss, and it was kind of a weird dream. There was an arrest warrant for Puss, for Puss in Boots, because he was, and he kind of is in the film too, but he's sort of a, a revolutionary rebel against, the establishment. But in the film, it was sort of he was like an American, and he was like, there was an arrest warrant for him for sedition or something like that. This is like, maybe at the time of independence. And there was an issue, but then there were his supporters, and there's, and he was supposed to be some kind of criminal, but, I don't know, kind of weird American shit mixed into it. Poor Puss getting dragged into politics, But anyway, but he was seeking freedom. Yes. Puss, which he did, I think, in the movie too. He was a hero, and then he had the dark shower. And I'm using the Puss metaphor just very roughly, but, I've been talking about the heroic journey and the anti-hero. Oh, by the way, yesterday when all this shit was going on, every time I turned on the radio in the car, guess which song I heard? Anti-hero. Taylor Swift, just all the time, But anyway, the whole heroic journey thing, the dark forest, it's all metaphors. It's ordeals, it's, trials, it's whatever, But, and there is, there is insights, and there is, there's what the hero comes back with, but I'm still struggling with getting out of the forest. I'm still, it's still, the ordeals don't seem to end, So it's it's very much Freud's, battle between, it's an inner battle. It's the Eros and Thanatos, the life instincts and the death instincts, or the constructive and the destructive, But anyway, at this point, I'm just going to keep going as I'm going, I'm just going to go day by day, like one day at a time. And again, I've said this so many times, and, I have to do this on my own. I do have an analyst. I do have friends. I am in contact with them. But this is my struggle. I mean, I can't, rehab is not my thing. Fitting into society is not my thing. At this point, I'm too old I'm never going to have a relationship again. I'm never going to, I'm not going to join a retirement community. I'm not going to go do sports shit, whatever. I don't do that. That's not my thing, So to go, even with my struggles, I only deal with, in casinos, I don't deal with humans. It's just machines, And the other thing, yes, humans are involved, but it's in an altered state. I'm not me anymore when I'm in there. I become someone else because of the substances. So I cannot do me in rehab would be like puss being sprayed by the old lady. Like don't wear track pants, spray. Don't eat hot food. It's addictive. Spray. No, it's not. That's not my route. I've been doing it on my own. I've been coming up with my own metaphors. I've been doing it. I've been tweaking. It's just very frustrating. It's very frustrating, but it's the journey. And the most important thing is, I'm not giving up. I'm going to keep battling to my last breath. I'm not giving into it. I'm not going to go and become a daily user. And I'm not going to go lose everything I have. I've lost a lot of money, but I'm not going to lose everything in the casinos. I'm not, I'm going to put everything I have into this. It's harder to do it on your own, but I'm betting that it's doable. Now, I'm not very good at betting, obviously. Look, why don't we do something here? 1 second. Let's do this. We haven't done it. I tend to do this after binges, but I think we need to pull a tarot card. They're usually quite, quite symbolic. They don't necessarily help, but it's interesting, so let's do it, Okay, one of the kids has come to, I moved to the ego chair. That's where I usually do my so-called reading thing, my selecting, really not reading. And I shuffled. I did it Nutty Professor style, but I did shuffle. And I usually I reduce it to 2, but there was one kind of in the middle that was speaking to me, and I brought it to the top. So it's now this one. And not speaking, I was just like, okay, whatever. But it was just, for some reason, this card. So we're going to go with the top one. Let's see what it is. The Fool. Now, that's very symbolic, good friends, happiness, and needing to take a giant leap forward. I know that the Fool is very, very, and in a way, when I do party, it's like the extreme of the Nutty Professor Fool comes out, but it's like a party. It's not the carefree, good friends, happiness, giant leap. It's like the bad version of Fool, So I think I need to kind of concentrate on the, in a way, the Nutty Professor character, is really the Fool. It's like, so let's just 1 second. Let's look it up. Okay, it's pretty close to what I had thought. Upright meaning, and the card that I picked was upright. There. Upright meaning innocence, freedom, originality, adventure, travel, foolishness. I guess nuttiness, carelessness, idealism, well, youth, no, not youth, spontaneity, lack of commitment, that's the Nutty Professor's strong suit, new beginnings, so it's like, and then if you ask it, these things, if you ask with money and career, or you go love and relationships, and I don't do that. Spirituality, I didn't add, I just picked the card. But in a way, even though I hate the term spiritual. I talk about, inner and outer, and that's the whole thing. Campbell's Return of the Hero, supposedly the master of the inner, the spiritual and the ordinary world. I've been using ordinary world. I don't like the term spiritual, you know me, so I'm like, I'll use inner, So, but in a way, this whole heroic journey thing. This is a I hate the term spiritual, but it's an inner journey. The spirituality, it's reversed, But the spirituality is kind of, full reversed. You're seeking a new spiritual experience, eager to cast off your old traditions. No, but mine wasn't reversed. So anyway, look, it's an interesting card. And, next time I Zoom with my analyst, I might ask him. He knows about this stuff, what probably more than an online thing. So, so I guess that's a positive in a way. I mean, it's a positive card, new beginnings, and I think the thing is for me, will be to, I've been talking about, metaphors and heroic journey and Puss and Odysseus and all of that stuff. This is the so-called dark forest, But this is, for me, this is my finding my way back to this so-called being a master of ordinary world, and that's what happens. You see, the ordinary world intrudes. I mean, with people who've, junkies, the people who deal with stuff and to me, all of that is really, that's sort of very spiritual. It's dark spiritual, but the substances and the, even the gambling, the going right into the Wheel of Fortune. I was playing Wheel of Fortune machines directly into chance, so-called chance, even though really nothing is chance. So it's sort of, for me, those addictions are a direct, so spiritual connection, but you're going right into the flame, it's a direct connection. And what happens with the ordinary world is something like a stressor, like this fucking, vacant property. Look at this place. It's not vacant. There's 4 of us here, but the hoops I had to run through and to go through, and I've done, I owned properties. I was a landlord myself at one point in Niagara. I had 3 houses, and I was renovating, and I had paperwork, and I had permits, and I had this, and I had that, and I, when I sold them, I had to do the tax stuff. I handled it all, but this time it was just felt more stressful, and this time it was just felt so unnecessary because I'm living here. What's this vacant? It's not vacant. It doesn't make any sense right now, to me. So, and just the paperwork and the bureaucracy, I felt like Kafka's character. Was it K? Was going to the castle and trying to get the was it the castle? Trying to get the appointment. This is the trial. Was a trial, read it long time ago, and it's really a bit, bureaucracy and, well, it's also spiritual. But anyway, look, I'm rambling. It was a good card, so I think for now, and I'll reflect on it. And it was an interesting dream, Plus being updated to, or being shifted to like an American context. Anyway, and being arrested. And again, I mean, so many frameworks, that I've borrowed bits and pieces from, and, I'm not taking any of them, literally, like, shadow is very important, and it keeps coming up in different contexts, and, confronting shadow, whatever you want to call it. Again, I think that the Jungian stuff, it worked for me as a guidepost up to a point. But now it's just, there's stuff that I would take from there, but I think we're in different times, and there's a different consciousness, and it's not quite working. Yeah, for lack of better, I will use shadow, I'll use anima, confronting, and I'll use all of that. The most thing is it works better for me. We're coming up with my own, kind of frameworks, So, and the whole cat thing and the identification is a feral cat and whatever, So my spirit animals, I guess, my family, So it's bad, good. That's also judgmental, So I don't know. I'm just going. That's it. I'm just, I think it was in Beckett, Samuel Beckett, I think the end of Waiting for Godot. It was like, I can't go on. I'll go on. That was a fool character too, So, and you know what? Just thinking about it, the whole fool. When I go into the underworld, particularly, the slither one, it's a very dark fool, a very negative fool. It's like it's not a pleasant nuttiness, It's because it is that shadowy stuff, Oh, and it just gets more and more kind of awful, the whole experience. But when the pull is that strong, the Thanatos, I go, So let's just do this one day at a time, So yet again, we're starting again, So no, we're not starting again. That's again, I think, a bit of a mistake, We're not starting again. We're just going. This is a journey. This is a process. This is ups and downs and ins and outs, and and all this stuff, And as I've said, I am not doing this to return. That rehabilitates you to become a contributing citizen and fit into the workplace and be a better father and and a husband or a spouse or whatever, and be a not be in casinos all the time so that you could be raising your human children, and you can't leave them alone without a babysitter and stuff like that. I got cats. They're my children. I see them as children, but they're cats. I can leave them all down. And I don't have a spouse. I will never. I'm kind of glad I never got into a actual relationship because right now, yes, it would have been really, really difficult. For the person that I was with. Maybe I wouldn't have been here. Something else would have happened. Anyway, it doesn't matter. Who knows what. But I don't have that. I don't have a relationship. I don't have human kids. I do have my kids. I have my podcast. I have my writing. I have my friends, and it's a journey. I'm not going to say good, bad. It's just going, and as long as I'm doing this, as long as I'm alive and I'm doing this, I'm doing it, and I'm not going to give up. Like those people that I was talking about with the extreme. I understand it. I do. Because the gambling is the worst addiction, and they say, what? I've heard them say that. I've heard people say that slot machines are the crack cocaine. I've kind of done that one too, but at some point. But between the two, gambling is worse. It's actually more addictive, at least for me. It's just it's just a very, very compulsive thing, and it's just like you're trapped, So anyway, there we go, and to me it's very spiritual because you're going right into you're going right into that that energy, that the chance, the so-called chance, which is and it's numbers, it's numerology, it's all of that stuff. It's a very, very powerful addiction, symbolic in many, many ways. Let's use the term symbolic rather than spiritual. I hate that word. So anyway, there we go, Nutty Professor, gonna keep fighting, as I used to say before when we're into all that stuff, I'm kind of past that now. It's like, it's just like, there we are. We're just, we're on whichever life, but we'll try to be a little careful. But, we're still going. And I got my kids, so I've got everything I need. We got food. So maybe today I'm going to edit and post, and then I'm going to go have some breakfast, lunch, something like that. I'm going to go eat. At least yesterday I had 2 meals, which is very rare on a binge. So I'm going to go eat, and then I'm going to try. I've sent some texts and emails to friends, so I've got that writing. But I haven't made a journal entry. So I need to write out the details that I hold back for personal privacy reasons, legal reasons too, possibly. So I'm going to try to write at least. That's okay. So we've got Agita here. We've got one baby heading that way, and we've got the other baby there under the chair. So still here. Probably used up another life. I wish I had a way of exactly counting them, like puss, But here I am, broke but sober. Well, 1 day sober. We're day 1. So that's an achievement. But anyway, 1 point for the other, all that stuff, I am the fool. I do like that card. Anyway, I'm going to edit and post this and have something to eat, and then try to write out some of the details I hold back here for personal privacy, legal reasons. So, still going though. Not a professor, still nutty, whatever professor, plus crazy, all kinds of things, psycho, still going, So, we got one baby there, and we got other baby there, and we got Agita there. So from the 4 of us, bye for now. See you next podcast.